Ford back in the 90s made a few pretty true automobiles. However, like every other producer, there have been a few horrific ones. Now I want each person to recognize that I don't choose one emblem over any other. I like Ford, I like GM, and I like Chrysler, as a minimum, all through this term. These motion pictures will constantly be arguable. Anybody is going to have their own opinion, which is definitely excellent and understandable. I am no expert within the slightest. I just definitely like motors. And after spending a great amount of time discovering, I got here up with a listing. To be honest, this wasn't precisely clean to make. Ford had a few official and incredible selling cars at some stage. In this time, I wasn't able to discover any links to be featured on this listing, and two of the motors aren't technically Fords. However, for the purpose of this video, they'll be blanketed now before I get on with the first access. There had been a couple that could have made this list, but I wasn't 100% certain, the first being the Ford Probe. They offered pretty well. The styling changed into advanced at the time, and reliability wasn't horrible. Next is the Mustang with the V6. Are they gradual? Yeah, but they aren't genuinely the worst from the 90s, the very last era. Mercury Cougar may also be noted. However, the ones have been added in '99, and I recently made an entire video devoted to it, and ultimately the Bronco 2, however, those have been discontinued in 1990, and I featured it in my 8's video. Alright, with all that said, allows get on with the worst 90s automobiles from Ford. We begin with the 0.33 and final technology, Mercury Capri, that ran from 1991 till 1994. The Capri name turned into an hiatus for a few years with the discontinuation of the Fox body-based Capri in 1986. 5 years later, the call turned into lower back, and it is absolutely one of a kind from what it once changed into Mercury after 1980, just had extra, I bet you can say, upscale, rebadge versions of the Fords on the time. There are some exceptions, and the Capri is certainly one of them. The Capri became now a two-door roadster that changed into produced by means of Ford of Australia, making it a captive import. There had been some modifications made to the Capri for the North American market Moret, together with adding new gauges, airbags, and body-coloured bumpers in 1990. The Miata got here out, and they had been a huge hit. And with the achievement of the Miata, Ford desired to dip into that marketplace. This was in the course of a time, whilst Mazda and Ford were clearly near of path, the Probe changed into an MX-6. There were the ones Mazda Rangers, the Mercury Tracer, and a few more. With that being stated, the Capri had the identical drivetrain as a Mazda 323 hatchback. This would come to be certainly one of its flaws due to the fact the drivetrain became the front-wheel drive, even as the Miata changed into rear-wheel. In a considerable majority of scenarios, the Miata, treated a lot higher than the Capri below the hood, became that equal 1.6L used in the Miata, which made around 100 horsepower, but if you got the XR2 trim, then you bought a turbocharger added to that. 1.6 boosting electricity to 132 XR2s had been most effective, made it right into a 5-velocity manual, even as base fashions had the choice for a 4-velocity auto, so the Capri did function a 2+2 setting configuration. The Miata did no longer. Is that this advantageous factor? I mean, insurance became less expensive. However, there is almost no room. Again there, it's nearly pointless. The trunk area turned into larger as nicely. And yeah, there had been returned seats. Simply, if the ones are your desires as a client, you would be better off with anything else. The Mercury Capri became not secure at all, going in, and coincidence in those changed into horrifying. The gentle pinnacle turned into poorly designed, constructed. It might leak, the latches might destroy, and it might deteriorate. Through the years, the cabin noise ranges had been excessive without or with the pinnacle. However, the essential flaw with the Capri turned into the reality that there had been so many other options on the market. Of course, there has been the Lotus Elon M100, the MR2, hell, even a Hurricane GSI, quickly. I'm going to play a 1-minute industrial showcasing the Capri, and it is by using one of the maximum weird advertisements I've ever seen for an automobile. So I invite this woman to lunch to break up with her. She orders a real steeply priced hors d'oeuvre and lobster tail. I say the hard words over dessert. She touches the facet of her mouth with her serviette, stands up, and walks out to the parking lot. I see her get right into a present-day purple convertible, bang her fist once in the steering wheel, and then drive off guffawing. If you can consider that phrases cannot even describe a sense for that commercial. It's in order that random eye, without a doubt, don't recognize what they're wondering. It is as though they didn't want humans to buy the